All right, we're back. It's Avs and Lightning in the final. Stanley Cup up for grabs. Avs minus 180, Tampa Bay plus 155. We'll pick a winner on Wednesday because that's when the puck drops for game one. But in the meantime, apologies to Eddie Spaghetti. The Rangers lose 2-1 to Tampa. You could blame your buddy Ken there, Harry's master. He shot us a text like, you guys keep shorting the Rangers, you'll be sorry. And I don't think they scored like 3 goals after that. I think they scored exactly 3 goals. Spaghetti, good for you, though. You didn't even watch the last game, right?
No, did not watch. Sal, you saw the last minute I laid eyes on the Rangers at Bruco. Once that goal happened, I put my eyes down. I just, like I said before to you, it just sickens me. It gets me to the point where it's just like, it makes the rest of sports not fun to enjoy. I just get sad. I was getting like stress headaches. So I had plans way ahead of time before. I didn't even obviously fathom the Rangers would have made it that far. I had a comedy show in Brea, California, which is about an hour away.
Yeah, you'll go watch comedy afterwards, which is always it's interesting. Do you sit there and laugh in your state of your depressed state?
I did have a good time. I did have a good time because I at that point I was already resigned to the fact that we were going to lose. So I knew it. I had, like I said, I had this premonition. Like I felt any good vibes were gone. And that's something that was still there for the Pittsburgh and for the Carolina series. But I was even like, yep, Jada, I'll drive. Let me drive the hour. Like take my phone's off, no updates. Like I couldn't. It just ruins me inside to the fact that we had this 2-0 lead. We're up 2 goals. I was like literally thinking about like how we match up versus the Avalanche, and it was just taken away from me. So that's it's terrible. It's terrible.
Are you sitting there in the front row, like laughing at these comedians, like Joaquin's Joker, kind of that kind of laugh?
No,
like,
I was not. No. I was excited to be at the show. I saw probably my current favorite comedian. So it was I was having a good time. Shane Gillis.
Oh, okay.
And he had a lot of good openers, some guys I've seen before. Just a really, really funny show. And I had a good night, a little good date night just to get away and just kind of not think about it. Did not read Twitter, did not watch anything sports related. After it was over, I still barely have read anything from the fallout of the game, really, besides the Kako benching thing that seems to be getting a lot of heat. But I've just been staying away from it because I'm just sick. I'll try to watch the Yankees in like a month.
Wow. Charlie Kidd, what do you think of this? He really he's a tortured soul.
Look, when Mikey Meatballs and I were at game 6 in the last game played at the Nassau Coliseum basically a year ago, and the Islanders were down 2-0 and down 3-2 in the series. We didn't leave. We didn't leave the arena. We stuck it out. And Mike and I both said, we could do this. We can do this. And they did. And then they lost in game 7, of course.
Well, this is doctor's orders. This seems like a real physical health thing with Spaghetti, mental for sure. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I also think Spaghetti, when he says, we all say, oh, our team's done, but we don't believe it. Spaghetti actually does believe it. And that he can't see it. You actually can't watch it, right, Spaghetti? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm big. I don't know how I pick it up, but I could just have a feel. I have a feel for stuff, and I know when stuff is done. And like it's just, I mean, obviously in terms of the actual team, with the injuries piling up, they're not scoring the lines are there. They were going to tire out, and you can't rely, no matter how good Igor could be, you can't rely on them forever. And they lost the mojo, they lost the juice to it. And Tampa's been there, done that. And they know how to weather the storm and win in the playoffs. It's the hardest, it's extremely hard playoff hockey. And it's just, I really don't miss it. I was actually happy to have a reprieve from it for the last few years. Now the Rangers going to be back in the thick of it, hopefully, knock on wood. It's detrimental to my well-being.
I know it's emotional and everything, and there's nothing like hockey playoffs. And I brought this up on Extra Points, and Brian, Darren, and Harry, you could comment. But if we want to say that hockey playoffs are the greatest and there's nothing like the emotion and the back and forth and how close the games are, you also have to acknowledge that it sucks when it's won on a shitty goal. And I think that Stamkos' second goal was shitty. It's off his pants. Yeah. He didn't mean to kick it in, but it's off his pants. It's like, oh, man. Why does the season have to come down to that? Funnier that it's the Rangers that lose. But right, Eric.
You're right. But the first goal was shitty too. Jesus, that was bad.
That was the screen, right? I'm trying. Yeah.
It all went downhill once Harry jumped on the Rangers, right? Like that kind of
Is that what it was?
Again, it says he jumped on the Oilers, the Rangers. It's just what happens eventually. So
yeah, I do want to say we brought it up. First of all, Brian, up 2-0 Rangers, 2-0, up 2-0 in Game 3. What's their odds to win the Lightning series? -1,000? Because they're probably -4. Well, they -4 something going into Game 3.
That game, right?
And then if they're up 2-0,
probably it's even higher.
Wow,
probably higher.
Sorry, Eddie.
It's even higher.
Sorry about that. That's rough. We did bring it up on extra points. If there were 7 questionable hits, I think that's a fair number in the playoffs. How many were illegal? Guess how many Eddie said out of the 7?
0.
That's exactly right. He said 0. and Mikey Meatballs agreed. He said, and what was your reasoning there, Spaghetti?
Well, number one, he wasn't penalized. Number two, he was not sanctioned by the player health and safety. And like my point was, like, the guy is a skilled player who, until this last series, especially the later half of the series, was an important player. And I mean, a guy of that stature who it could be a top line pairing for a number of teams, was a +30 on the season. Obviously, block shots too in the playoffs and hits. It's a physical presence that you need in this game, I think, to win playoff games. And like, I just think the Crosby hit specifically, which is the big one that Pittsburgh Mania's not stopped about, is really as the most hockey type play you could ever get caught up into. And I did say on EP, to be fair, I'm very glad that hit that I believe was Palat who ducked it. I'm very glad he did not connect, because that would have been ugly. But again, I'm not going to take away from Trouba's style of play. I think it's necessary. You also mentioned that it was you or Damashek said it was the Tom Wilson compare. You're like, oh, he produces more than Tom Wilson. And Shek's like, oh, I'd much rather have Tom Wilson. It's insane. You could find there's hundreds of Tom Wilsons around. There's not many Trubas. Bri, Darren, rather have Tom Wilson or Trouba?
Trouba's a much better player. I mean, you got to pay him a lot more money.
Interesting.
Trouba's a better player.
Trouba's
a good player. That's why he doesn't need to.
And Shek said Wilson they'd rather have.
Listen, nobody hits teams like the Islanders hit teams. Like, the Islanders have a fourth line like Clutterbuck, Martin, and Cizikas that's constantly hitting teams, but you never hear, I mean, at least I could be wrong, but very rarely do they get labeled as dirty. They're just clean. They just hit you. They play, I think, a little bit of a cleaner game too. They're not, and I wouldn't even say they play different positions too, obviously, than Trouba does. But, there's a way to go about it. I do think, I'd say there was, just talking to some of my hockey guys that I know here, that they would say probably half those hits were very questionable by Trouba. Probably half of those.
Definitely
questionable. I don't know if any of them was a concrete, absolute, but
all right. Well,
I do think it inspires other teams, though. You got to watch that too. When you got a guy like Trouba, it pisses other teams off, and a guy like Trouba could have been the motivation for the Lightning to win that series. Very possible.
Who knows? Well, I'm sad it's over for Spaghetti. The content was great. Obviously, the Penguins Rangers was terrific, and keeping the Rangers alive for as long as we could was the way to go. We'll bet Meatballs and I have the Lightning. I have them at 11-1.
I have them to win 2, but only like 3-1 though.
Oh, get at it. Don't talk to me and Meatballs. We have 11. He has 18-1. We're not hedging. Nobody's hedging. We'll officially pick a winner on Wednesday because we have some time, and the Avs have time too. It'll be like 8 days off since they have played. But there you go. Again, Eddie Spaghetti. Sorry, if you don't watch the games, Spaghetti, it'll seem like Trouba never did anything illegal. So keep that up.
Yeah, I'm still teetering. I may tune into some games just because I do like how the Avalanche play, and I just feel like it's part of my job too. But that's like, man, it really questions if I really want to watch sports ever again. It really bums me out.
You lumped your Yankees in there, and as of now, this Monday morning, Yankees and Mets, 2 New York teams, best records in baseball. My God, how does that happen? June 13th. Yankees are great parlay, kid. I don't know, they are surprising everyone, especially people like you who said they wouldn't make the playoffs. They're right up there. They have a terrific pitching staff, and you have to admit, this is their year. There's no gravy. There's a lot of pressure. No, that's what I'm
absolutely, Sal. See, I'm not going to sit there and say there's not. And by the way, I did still correct my pick when the Yankees were plus 220 to win the division. So I did make a correction when they were 220 still,
what are
plus
they now?
220 to win the division.
We got to figure out. Yeah. Well, the thing that gets me, we'll find division winners.
Find that what that is.
Yankees are they're minus 390 now. Yeah.
Every year, anything less than a World Series championship for the Yankees fan is a disappointment. Now that the Mets have the same pay, it should be the same for the Mets. You got the payroll to match it now.
Because the Yankees just kill everyone. The Mets just beat up on their shitty division. That's the comment. That's the thing. That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yankees statistically are first in everything pretty much when it comes to pitching and it comes to batting.
Well,
first in home runs in the American League.
I will say this is the best. I mean, they're starting pitching. I mean, I don't remember. You throw out 5 guys that are just putting up. It's
just
they are.
And
look again. I'm not trying to. But Harry, we've talked about this. The Yankees pitching is really good. Credit to their pitching coach, Coach Blake. He's done a great job with these guys. But I've also maintained over the years the Yankees pitching has always overachieved for the most part for them. That being said, like you're saying, Sal, too, this is great. This is a great year for the Yankees, but there's just so many lineups that are so bad.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. So it's really bad. It's really bad.
Sal, remember when we grew up, and again, I don't want to, we can compare eras here, but when we used to scoff at the guys like Dave Kingman, who would hit 40 home runs, but hit 220. We'd be like, oh, man, that's brutal.
Now you got a bunch of guys like that.
Reggie, too.
And I understand. Well, Reggie was a much better hit.
How many times did Reggie with the Angels make the All-Star team when he was batting 212?
And granted, the pitching has changed. Guys are throwing harder now, like consistently harder. Guys come out of the bullpen throwing 100. It's much harder for the hitters now.
But I'm looking, you're right, Paulie, because I went to go to the vote on the, and everyone should do this because it's free. MLB.com, you vote for the All-Stars, and they put the numbers, unlike us, when you go to the game. Remember, you'd go to the game and you get the card, you punch out the thing. But you wouldn't, it's great, but you wouldn't see the stats of the players. So now they make it easy for you. And I'm looking at American League first baseman. And this used to be this was just a cavalcade. Really, like you'd have to spend 10 minutes trying to figure out who should be the American League first baseman. I'm not even talking when we were kids, like 10 years ago, it was big. And now you spend 10 minutes because you can't find, I guess you can go for Vlad. He's hitting 250 with 14 homers. Anyone with any decent amount of power can't hit more than 255. Jose Abreu,
like
7
Rizzo.
homers.
Right. Rizzo on the Yankees.
Rizzo, 219, 15 homers. Nobody's hitting. You get like a Ty France for Seattle, 325, 9 homers, 38 RBIs. All right, that's the most balanced guy if you want the first baseman. Guy.
And remember, Sal, first basemen were always sluggers, right?
Right.
But with better averages. And it's changed. It's something that we'll never adjust to. Stats just don't mean the same.
That's the one thing I'll give for the NBA. The stars are stars, right? The stars will put up the good numbers, and that's why they make sense. All right, you'll get some guys voted in who were like injured for 20 games, and they probably shouldn't make it, and that's going to be the case. But if you go just on merit, this All-Star game, you're going to get like a Ty France playing. You're going to get you get Andres Jimenez is going to get, you're going to get, no one's going to watch these games if you get, just base it on merit. And it's very weird. Nobody is hitting. You're right. The averages are way down.
Darren, a point that you were just making, even that he got the benefit, guy just throwing a name out there, a guy that got to have the benefit of playing in Colorado kind of at the end of his career. But Andres Galarraga, even at 33, 34 years old, he was batting 320, 315 with a team like that, where none of these guys, you try France is one exception, but it's been around for a couple of years, but everyone else is batting in the 250s or lower.
You got to, it's tough to find a third outfielder for both. I mean, obviously you can grab one, but it really is something. I mean, Judge 318, 24 and 48. God bless him. Now he's minus 115. Sorry, plus 115 for MVP. Minus 155 for most home runs. Which ticket would you rather hold, Parlay Kid?
Well, I hold Judge at 18-1 for the home run leader this year. So
that's good.
That's a good thing.
He's a minus right now.
But you got to jump on that MVP thing right now. While he's still a plus, if the season ended today, if you knew the season was ending a week from now, what would his odds be to be MVP?
So it's just, well, yeah, of course. A week
no,
from
no,
now.
no,
Yeah,
I mean, so
the
but
votes are in.
I think this is. It's only going to. I can't imagine this changing, barring injury. And
that's
Judge,
the whole thing. It's the injury.
So you just but look, he's also in his contract, right? So he's trying to avoid injury the best way he can. I would take Judge at plus 115 right now.
Plus 115, more than the home runs. Wow. All right. Wow. This is it's really crazy how it's and Alonso's second, plus 950. Mets lead basically cut in half over the last 2 weeks because you had. Well, the Phillies lost yesterday, but they had won 9 in a row, and the Braves have won 11 in a row. See, this is why you can't get excited in June. Their lead is 5.5. Phillies that was after Girardi was fired. They went crazy. But anyway, Yankees, Mets, let's keep it going. It'll keep us going for the summer.
Keep it going.
Judge plus 115. That's Parlay Kids pick for MVP. What else we got, Harry? What do you got going this week? Anything?
This week, no, but it's finally back in Phoenix after being in all over Southern California for 6 days in a row, and it's nice and toast. Only supposed to be 112 today.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Harry was dying to stay in California. He's like, please, I'll watch your dog. Give me any reason to not have to go home to 113. Oh, yeah.
Did everything work out with Dave? Everything worked fine?
Yeah, it's fine. I had a trip from hell. I spent on these flights to Milwaukee. Honestly, we could have traveled in a spaceship through Europe for 3 weeks for how much it's disgusting.
Man, crazy.
Disgusting with the flights. Really, don't travel if you don't have to. Really, that's the message here. Because they're making you pay for the gas. And your flight both our flights got canceled. Going there and coming back. And they're like, all right, we'll refund you the money, but we're not going to make up for the inconvenience. And going on. It's on and on. It's terrible. Hey, maybe we'll have our buddy Paul Colhorst on. What is it? Which major's coming up?
U.S. Open.
All right, U.S. Open. That starts Thursday. We will be back tomorrow, and then we can talk hockey and basketball. We'll review Game 5, getting down to the nitty-gritty, guys, and that'll do it for another episode of Against All Odds. For Spaghetti, for Meatballs, for Scott the Grizz Holmes, and the Degenerate Trifecta, I'm Sal saying so long and happy handicapping.